Hey everyone, Harris O'Malley from DrNerdLove.com, brought to you by my generous patrons at patreon.com/DrNerdLove. Over the course of my career, I have dealt with a lot of people who haven't had much, if any, dating experience. This ranges from people who've only had one or two girlfriends in their entire lives, people who've only had a handful of dates but no relationships, and people who are literal 40-year-old virgins. One of the things that's interesting is how often they all had the same fears, beliefs, and anxieties regarding dating and women. Beliefs and anxieties that I know a lot of you out there share. In fact, how many of these fears or beliefs do you have? Women will think that you're weird because you're a virgin. Women only date certain kinds of guys. Women don't want men who don't have a lot of money, who work retail, don't have a car, or don't have their own apartment. Women only want men with certain faces or certain types of bodies. Women sleep with one kind of guy and only date or settle down with other guys when they can't get those other hotter guys anymore. You think you can't meet women because women will think you're creepy. You think you're too old to start dating or to lose your virginity. You think I'm too short, fat, or ugly for women to ever find me attractive. You believe that women would never like you because there are other better options out there. This is by no means a comprehensive list. I could go on for an hour about the various things that guys believe that keep them from dating. But there's one thing that all of these beliefs have in common. And no, it's not they're all false, although they are. It's that at their core, the people who share these beliefs don't actually believe that women think these things. These are all anxieties men have about themselves. Anxieties that they are externalizing and projecting onto others. They are, in effect, taking the things they dislike the most about themselves or beliefs that they have about their own lack of value or worth and turning them into universal rules. The people who, for example, believe most fervently that women don't like short men are very rarely 6 feet tall. They are guys who are already insecure about their heights. I can guarantee you that Robert Downey Jr. and Oscar Isaac don't think they're too short to date. These are all examples of what are known as self-limiting beliefs. Beliefs that people hold that keep them from not just achieving their true potential, but from even trying. Part of what makes these beliefs so insidious is that men often aren't aware about how they're taking the things that they feel about themselves and are projecting them outward, instead of addressing the root causes: insecurity, body issues, societal messages about real men. It's easier to project those beliefs onto other people, making it their fault. It becomes a way of excusing yourself from even trying. It's, after all, simply a law of the universe, so what's the point? But if you're here, then it's pretty clear that you don't believe this to be true. At some level, you want to reject that belief. After all, why would you be seeking out videos and podcasts about developing an incredible dating life? At some level, somewhere deep inside, you want to change your mind and shake off those beliefs. So let me ask you something. What do you actually get from believing these things? What is the benefit that you receive from believing that you are too old, too broke, too underemployed, too short, too bald, too awkward, too fat, or too old for women to be interested in you, and that there's nothing you can do? What do you get from believing that you are helpless and powerless to change? It clearly doesn't make you happy or bring you any sort of comfort. If anything, it makes you more miserable. And often that misery starts to curdle and turn into anger and hate. Sometimes that hate gets directed inward. Sometimes that hate is directed outward at others, especially at women. But none of that hate or that anger ever actually helps. It just serves as fuel to make you angrier and to make you hurt more. Now, think about those beliefs again, the things that you believe that are keeping you from dating, and ask yourself this question. What if you're wrong? I can already hear you starting to argue and insist that you're not, which I get. I get where you're coming from. But again, what would change in your life if you were wrong? Not just about the beliefs that women are not and will never be attracted to you, but the idea that there's nothing you can do to make your life better. It's important to ask this because those self-limiting beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecy. Believing that you have no chance or no hope hacks your brain. It slaps a filter over everything you see and everything you do. When you believe that no woman could ever find you attractive, you act accordingly. You don't approach people that you're interested in, and the few times that you do so in a half-hearted manner. When you try to talk to someone and you believe these things, you assume that you have already been rejected. This means that you see literally everything in that light, from the way that they stand to the tone of their voice. They may not have said or indicated that they weren't interested or that they didn't like you or that they were disgusted by you, but you knew what they meant. You knew they were thinking it. It was written all over their face. Or was it? Because these beliefs also mean that you won't believe it when someone is interested in you. Either you'll assume that you're mistaken, or you'll dismiss it, either as a fluke or a trick. This is what's known as confirmation bias. You believe something, and so you only pay attention to the things that confirm what you already believe. When you have evidence that proves you wrong, you disregard it, you assume it's a mistake, or that it simply doesn't apply to you. Now, the thing that's insidious about these beliefs is that they feel logical. Right now, a lot of you are probably yelling at me through your computer or your phones that this isn't a belief, it's a fact brought on by experience. But the truth is, it's not. It's brought on by feeling helpless and powerless. When you feel like you have no control, you start to give up. You condition yourself to simply stop. But that doesn't mean that the pain stops. It just means that you stop trying. You no longer make the effort. You just simply lie there and take it and try to endure the misery. Life is pain. Anyone who says otherwise is selling something, right? You can't change your height, you can't stop being ugly, you can't make a woman be interested in a guy who works at Target or who mops floors or who has to take the bus instead of having their own car. But what if you're wrong? What if women aren't only interested in status and money? What if you aren't helpless or powerless to change? What if you did have control, not over other people, but over yourself? Now, again, I can hear a lot of you out there demanding that I prove that you're wrong, and I'm not going to. Because the point of this episode isn't for me to prove anything. I'm asking you simply to ask yourself that question. What if you're wrong? What if things could be different? What if you could prove to yourself that you had control? And not in any huge or flashy way, not in some massive transformation overnight or even over the course of a month. Just one little change. After all, one of the reasons why it is so easy to feel helpless is because you keep running headlong into massive challenges that feel absolutely insurmountable. This happens to people all the time, especially when folks try some form of self-improvement. People who, for example, want to lose weight will often start an incredibly stringent calorie-restricted diet and then quit following it within weeks. People who want to get in shape will start trying to pull 2-hour workouts at the gym 3 days a week and then quit going before the month is even over because nothing's changed, but everything hurts. It is very easy to get demoralized, to give up, when all you're doing is running headlong into the same wall over and over again. Even the hardest of the hardcore are only going to punish themselves so many times before they give up. When things feel impossible, or it feels like you are being punished for having never done something before, you're going to lose hope. Which is why it's time for a little game theory. This is gonna sound weird, but I promise you there's a point to it, so stick with me. If you have ever played video games at all, whether you are an old school Nintendo guy from the 80s, whether you play Candy Crush on your phone, or you are the hardcore who play games like Dark Souls, Sekiro, and Bloodborne, you'll notice that the game is relatively easy at first. Even games that are known for being impossibly difficult ease you into it with levels or missions that are relatively undemanding and not difficult to complete before the challenge ramps up to legendary levels. Obviously, part of the reason why they do this is to teach you the mechanics of the game. They are onboarding you, as it were. But there's also another reason. It's because those minor victories at the beginning give you a sense of accomplishment. If the game starts off by immediately punching you in the dick and never lets up, you're never gonna bother trying to get past the first mission, never mind finishing the damn thing at all. Looking at you, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, that's right, I have not forgotten that. However, when you start off with some relatively easy victories, ones that might have been a little challenging, but still ones that you are able to overcome, then you feel empowered. The more success you feel at the beginning, even when those successes feel like they have been absurdly easy, the more motivated you are to persevere when the difficulty ramps up. You feel like you have the ability to tackle the harder, more demanding challenges because of those early, easy victories. And this approach goes well beyond just video games. It is the cornerstone to a number of different training and exercise programs, like, say, Couch to 5K. The early stuff may be almost insultingly simple, but they give you the motivation to keep going and to tackle the harder parts. All of that is why, when you want to challenge your self-limiting beliefs, stop feeling helpless, and to take control of your life again, you want to focus on what are known as micro-revolutions. Micro-revolutions are tiny challenges to your sense of helplessness, seemingly minor or even insignificant victories that stand in defiance of your beliefs and your anxiety. So start by looking at those beliefs and ask yourself, what are some little ways that you could challenge them? What are some little victories that could show you that you do have control? What are simple, concrete steps that you can take that would push back on those anxieties and beliefs and show that you do have agency? You have to remember, the key is to keep them small and easily achievable. And it can start as simply as getting a flattering haircut and taming your facial hair, or finding a shirt that you feel looks really good on you. It can be something as simple and seemingly insignificant as I jogged for 5 minutes without stopping, or even just walking on the treadmill for a half hour. That same idea applies to interacting with women, keeping things simple and easy to realize. Not, hey, can you go out and get somebody's phone number over the course of a night, but can you make someone smile? Can you make somebody laugh with a well-timed joke? Being able to make someone smile isn't proving that you're a Casanova in the making. It's proof that women aren't going to run screaming just because you looked at them. It is a small material challenge to those beliefs, a test that proves that yes, you do have control. Yes, you can make things better. Yes, your beliefs are just that, beliefs and not truths handed down on stone tablets. But as you're doing this, there is another equally important part to challenging these beliefs. You need people who are going to support you, who are going to back you up, and who are going to be on your side and cheering you on. Part of what makes those self-limiting beliefs hard to shake is that people who share them often congregate, initially in the sense of support and sympathy, but all too often it turns into a source of reinforcement. The incel community is a great example of this. What was originally intended to be a support group for people who had a hard time with sexual relationships turned toxic and became about hate, not about answers, not about solutions, and not about support. It's one thing when the people around you say, yeah, I feel that way too, and it sucks. It's another when they say, yeah, you're right, you're f***ed. There is nothing you can do except lay down and rot. Hear that enough times, say that enough times, and it starts to become part of your identity and that much harder to shift. Doubly so when challenges to those beliefs or to the orthodoxy of the group are shouted down as being false or just cope. That is why you want to surround yourself with people who help you challenge those beliefs. People who cheer on your little victories, who believe in you and help you keep going. You want positive reinforcement in your life. Stepping away from the constant course of negativity and reinforcement goes a long way to challenging your mind and helping you break through those beliefs and pushing away those anxieties. And I freely admit, all of these sound like they're incredibly minor, even absurdly small things. After all, how could something like getting a different haircut change your mind about being an unfuckable homunculus? And the answer is, frankly, it won't. Not by itself. What it will do is put a little crack in that wall. Dig a little at the foundation of that belief. One crack by itself isn't that big of a deal. But add another micro-revolution, another little victory, another crack in the wall. And suddenly, that wall's not as strong as it was before. With enough little cracks, even the strongest wall comes crashing down. Those beliefs you hold, those self-limiting beliefs, may be holding you back from the life that you want, the life that you can have. But you can change that. And all you have to do to start is simply ask yourself, what if you're wrong? That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for turning in. I really appreciate your being here and watching all the way through. So, you have heard from me, and now I want to hear from you. What are some of the little victories you have had recently? Share yours in the comments below so we can cheer you on and help you fight your way to the life that you have always wanted. Meanwhile, if you want to take time during the quarantine to develop your social skills, learn how to meet new and amazing women, and take that level in Sexy Badass so that you'll be ready to hit the ground running when things open up again and it's safe to go out, then check out my book, New Game Plus, The Geek's Guide to Love, Sex, and Dating. This is the instruction manual you have been waiting for, the A to Z guide for learning how to develop and unleash your inner sexy Jedi and find the relationship you have always wanted, whether it is for a lifetime or just that evening. Links to buy it are in the show notes, so go check it out. And if you do check it out, or any of my other books for that matter, do me a huge favor and be sure to rate and review it on Amazon and Goodreads. And it's a great way to support an author and this channel. Now, if you're digging the series, then you already know what to do. You've been here before, you've been on YouTube, this ain't your first time. Hit that thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, send it around to all of your friends. If you are really enjoying these videos, if you feel like you're getting a lot out of it and you're finding that it's helping you, and you want to support the channel and in the process, help fund some awesome new projects, then consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/drnerdlove. Even $1 is a huge help. It covers hosting, covers equipment costs, and like I'm always saying, I can't do this without the help of my patrons, so whether you are brand new or you've been part of this from the beginning, thank you all so very much. Your support means everything to me. Meanwhile, you can follow me on Twitter at @DrNerdLove. Join the private Facebook group NerdLove Academy at facebook.com/groups/DrNerdLove. And as always, hit that logo to subscribe, check out my other videos, and I will see you here next time with more about love, sex, and dating. Thanks for watching.